Good evening, everybody. Welcome to my third podcast on this Monday night on the 12th of January. It's a morning time in Philly. Well, being a Philly sports fan, we are used to this. During my time as a Philly sports fan, I can think of some other tough losses. I'm still stuck in 1993 when Joe Carter hit that home run off of Mitchell Williams in Game 6 in the 1993 World Series. Also, the 1980 New York Islanders, Philadelphia Flyers, Game 6. When the Flyers lost, that was the year they had a 35-game unbeaten streak. Actually, that was the same year where Philadelphia still is the only city, that has four sports teams that have made it to the finals with all four of the teams. Yesterday, tough loss. It's been a tough year for the Eagles, real tough year for the Eagles. Don't have to talk about it if you're an Eagle fan. The offense struggled again. Before the game, I told people, they asked me what I thought about the game privately. I said, the Eagles got to get over 20 points, and they should win with over 20 points. They got 19. The teams that they played that made the playoffs this year, the Eagles averaged 17 points a game. Sorry, that's not going to win you a lot of games. For this team to have gone 11-6 with the offense that they have, it's a miracle. I had picked them to go 11-6 when I was on some podcasts at the beginning of the year with numbers of what I thought the Eagles would go. 11-6 was the mark. If you looked at the schedule, it was very tough. They didn't have back-to-back home games, which, looking at the schedule is pretty tough. Compared to last year's schedule, when they won the Super Bowl, this schedule was a lot harder, which is what you would expect for a first-place schedule and a Super Bowl champion schedule. They played a team yesterday that was decimated with injuries. We saw them lose their top tight end with an Achilles injury. The Eagles have a ton of talent. What has happened to that talent this year is the biggest question. You're hearing offensive coordinator. Is it Jalen Hurts? Is it this? Is it that? Look, it's tough to repeat as a Super Bowl champion. Don't get me wrong. It's very tough to repeat. It hasn't been done in over 20 years since New England did it back in 2005. And you see why. It's just you have to be totally on your game. And it's at times this year, we as Eagle fans thought we were seeing the replay of 2023 after the Eagles went to the Super Bowl in 2022 and lost to Kansas City. There's going to be changes. Rest assured, there's going to be a new offensive coordinator. I'm not blaming him. I'm not going to do that. It's a whole team effort here from the head coach down to the players. The players got to perform too. We have an offensive line that for the past 5 years is one of the top offensive lines in football. They didn't play well this year. Injuries were part of that. I don't like to make excuses for injuries because when the Eagles won in 2018, they had injuries. I'm one of those type of guys that says next man up. This team, it's going to be some changes. You have a place kicker who should be gone. I mean, there's no excuses. He misses an extra point, misses a field goal. That missed extra point when the Eagles were going down the drive at the end of the game was huge because the Eagles could have kicked the field goal to tie it to go into overtime. Let's talk about the last play. Brutal play call. Just absolute brutal. If you see the tape, you see the receivers running fly patterns on both sides of the field and Goddard being triple covered. Jalen should have never thrown that ball. Never thrown it. And I'm not going to blame him on the play. That's where he was going. There was nowhere else to go. I mean, I looked at the tape. There was some opening up top if you wanted to roll out. But it was just a horrible play calling. And you'll see Jalen was on the sidelines when the play was called. Like really? So we're going to see a new offensive coordinator, no doubt about it. I'm going to talk to you right now about LaShawn McCoy. And he's not the only one who has mentioned this. I've been on a podcast with a guy that's been around Philly sports for over 30 years. Wouldn't say it, but said there was other factors involved with the Eagles and the offense. LaShawn McCoy says he's hearing Jalen Hurts is limiting the Eagles' offense. I did a lot of digging because I know some people, McCoy said. The problem is the Philadelphia Eagles can't do exotic looks because Jalen really can't do it. I have heard, and I'm a huge Jalen Hurts fan. I'm a huge fan of his. I think he's a good quarterback. But there's certain things in that playbook that he's not running. Either he doesn't want to run them or he can't run them. I don't want to hear that. You got to understand where there's smoke, just fire. And LaShawn's not the first person to bring this up. If you watch Jason Avant in post games, he talks about Jalen too and talks about the receivers. I'll get to the receivers after this here because I got a lot to say about A.J. Brown. Jalen, you get paid a lot of money. You need to run the place. You're there to win football games. You have to run the place. Let's get to A.J. Brown. Some people are saying Nick Sirianni shouldn't have ran down the sidelines in the national televised playoff game. I disagree. Get off the field quickly. AJ, sacrifice, try to die for the football. I remember when Ricky Waters did alligator runs back in 1997 with the Eagles, I believe it was, or 96. AJ just, I don't know what's in his head. When he came to Philly, he was a superstar. I don't know what the deal is. Will the Eagles trade him? A lot of people think they will. I don't know if they're going to be able to with the contract that he has. The guy, Jalen said he met with him today, that he and AJ are fine. What's the problem? Why does it look like you're giving half an effort out there in the football field? You just can't do that. It's a playoff game. I have no problem with the head coach running down the sidelines. It's a playoff game. There's no tomorrow. And you have to give all your effort. I watched San Francisco last night, decimated with injuries, undermanned, and just absolutely played with guts, heart, and character. And you saw that with their reaction after they beat the Eagles. The Eagles, again, thought they could just show up. You can't do that. These guys should know better than that. They're everybody's Super Bowl every week. You got to be ready to play. They were undisciplined. Penalties have been a problem all year. That comes down to coaching. That comes down from the head coach all the way down to disciplining the players. You can't have penalties like that in these games. They killed them yesterday. They made some big plays, but then all of a sudden there was a flag penalty. It's just brutal. It was just one of those seasons where I'm watching the games. I'm like, man, I can't wait for this season to be over with. It's just nothing could go right. We shall see what will happen, but there's going to be a lot of changes, and I believe the Kevin Petula will be gone. I do believe that. I think that's going to come up from up top, Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman. That hey, look, I know Nick's really good friends with the guy. I get it, and I don't want to blame him. I'm not going to blame him totally because it's a total, but he's part of it, and so is Nick. Nick, you're the manager of the team. That's a head coach's job. Okay, this is part of your problem because you had told everybody that you were going to take over the offense, and you did, and it was still garbage. And that's what it was garbage. Let's just call it what it was. It was just brutal. It was just ugly to watch. So right now the Texans are at the Steelers in the last wild card of the weekend. Winner of this game goes to New England. We have also in the other AFC matchup, we have the Bills going to Denver. In the NFC, we have the 49ers, which off of a short week, they have to go to Seattle on Saturday. And the Rams are at the Bears. Some interesting games in divisional weekend coming up. But just a tough one as an Eagle fan. I'm used to it. We've won some championships, but as a Philadelphia sports fan, you're used to these bad losses. Let's see here. If AJ does leave Philly, where will he wind up being? I grabbed maybe 5 teams I think he might possibly go to. I'm thinking 5 here. New England would be number 1. He has a relationship with Vrabel. Him when AJ was in Tennessee. Second team will be Buffalo. Third, possibly Denver. 4, Baltimore, and 5, the Chargers. All 5 you see there from the AFC. If he should happen to leave, it's going to be hard to trade him. He's got a contract that's pretty huge. So we look at. I saw some stuff today in regards to early things about the draft. And, Fernando Mendoza, if anyone, he's predicted to be number 1 to the Raiders. And a lot of people ask, who's that? Who is he? Some of you don't know who he is. He's the quarterback at Indiana, playing in the national title next week against Miami. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Second quarterback probably to be taken will be the quarterback from Oregon, Dante Moore. Some are saying he should possibly stay in college after his performance against Indiana. I think he's a good quarterback. I just think Indiana just railroaded Oregon, just came out and just smoked him. Another guy, Trinidad Chambliss. He right now is trying to get an extra year of eligibility. He's taking it to court in Mississippi. He wants to get another year of eligibility and play at Mississippi. If he doesn't, he is a top quarterback. You saw what he did in the game against Miami. The kid can play. I think he's better than Moore if he comes out in the NFL draft. Another guy, Ty Simpson. Now, this is an interesting one. He declared for the NFL draft, but now there are teams offering him a lot of money to stay in college with the NIL contract. It's absolutely crazy. He was offered, and this is the rumor, and it leaked out. He was offered $6.5 million to come stay in college. It was apparently by Miami. Just a year ago, Miami had signed their current quarterback Carson Beck for $4 million with an NIL contract. Texas quarterback Arch Manning reportedly makes upwards of like $6 million to Texas with his NIL. It's crazy. The NILs are insane, and I've talked about this. You know, these athletes that want to get paid. Maybe you should get rid of your scholarship if you want to get paid and have the scholarship for students. Just a thought process. 6.5 right off the bat for a guy that's only played 1 year of college is absolutely insane. And he's projected to be a number one pick. And you think about first-round picks in the NFL as a quarterback, usually they make about $4 million a year in a 4-year contract, which is about $16 million. So I'm sure Miami is trying to sell him. And look, if you're looking about these athletes, especially in baseball, want to have this average what I make a year. You can make 6.5 at Miami. It's crazy. It's a crazy number. That'll change college football, that type of a contract for an NIL. It's insane. It's going on in basketball too. I mentioned this last week. John Calipari had said, you know, there's a glitch in the eligibility of college athletes. He said there is nothing in the NCAA bylaws that state if you leave college early and go to the pros that you can't come back to college and utilize your remaining eligibility left. He said there's nothing there. Can you imagine that? A kid goes and plays professional basketball for about 3 years and says, you know, I want to go back to college. Basically, that's what he's saying. There's nothing in there stating that these guys can't come back to college and utilize their last bit of eligibility. Crazy stuff. Crazy, crazy stuff. So next week, we are a week. You would think it was this week, but it's a 2 weeks between the college national championship. Next week, it'll be Indiana taking on the University of Miami for the national championship. Right now, I see that Indiana is a 7-point favorite. The world is taking Indiana. Something's telling me Miami is going to win this game. I don't know what it is. I think they're on that ride. Just they're on that magic ride. And Indiana is really good. Don't get me wrong. They are an excellent team. They're well coached. This quarterback is a class act. These guys are a team. I don't think it's going to be like the Oregon game for Indiana. I think it's going to be a very competitive game, as it should be at the national championship game. But something tells me Miami's going to win this game. Just my gut. We shall see. We're a week away. Let's take a look at the update for the Phillies with Bo Bichette. I put this up on my phone. Phillies met with free agent Bo Bichette. I got to find it here. Bear with me a second. As I look, that's the other thing. Well, the bottom line, I was going to read this. Let me just see if I can find it. Bo Bichette. Bear with me a second here. I had it all ready. Let's see if it's here. All right. Phillies met with him, and the price may be pretty steep. His camp is looking for like $300 million, and some think would you take $250 million. These salaries in baseball are just crazy right now, just absolutely nuts. There's a pending lockout coming in 2027, so I think these guys are trying to get their money now in case there is a lockout, and there's not in case there's going to be one, because the two parties, the owners and the players, are so far apart on one issue, which will lock the season down in 2027. The owners want a cap, and the players want nothing to do with that. I mean, they are miles apart. But the Phillies found out the initial offer that Bichette wants, it's almost $300 million. They're almost at a point here. If they really want him, they're going to have to pony up here. But that's a lot of dough, man. He plays shortstop and he can hit, but his fielding is iffy. You know, but that I didn't like hearing that news today. I was like, geez, more bad news. But I was told they're not going to sign him because John Middleton may want to spend the money, but he has other partners, which were former family of the prior ownership of the Phillies. So they don't want to spend a lot of money because they want to make money. And look, there's a lot of money in baseball and sports. You got these TV contracts. Phillies got an excellent TV contract. You got, the memorabilia stuff at the stadium, and you're buying concessions and all that other stuff. There's tons of money. I mean, if they really want a guy, just sign him. Pay the luxury tax. I mean, they're not a mid-market team here. They're over the luxury tax anyway. If you're going to compete with the Dodgers, because the Dodgers are on their own level here, and every team in the National League, it's all them and then the Dodgers, because the Dodgers are just going to spend. They don't care. They don't care about the luxury tax. They'll pay it. They'll pay it. They just don't care. They want to win. They've won 2 straight. They're going to win 3. They signed Edgar Diaz, the best reliever in baseball, who was with the Mets. He went out to L.A. realizing, I can win out here. He got his money, and he can win. And a lot of guys are going out there, yes, for their money, but also to win. And these other teams better wake up and smell that, because there isn't, in my opinion, going to be a cap. There isn't. The players are not going to do any sort of cap. It's not going to happen. That's why we're going to have a long lockout in 2027. It's going to be a long lockout. And I predict it's probably going to be for the whole season. Just my opinion. It's coming, guys. It's coming. Enjoy this season, because I don't think we're going to have a 2027 baseball season. So let's get into some other topics here. I found this thing today. I don't know what is it. I listen to Philly sports talk and New York sports talk and national stuff just to get some stuff, and it's hilarious. You see different perspectives. Everybody outside of Philly thinks Nick Sirianni is going to get fired. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. He's been the 5 playoffs the last 5 years. He's been the 2 Super Bowls. He's won 1. Yes, we had the meltdown in 2023, and this was almost close to that. But they're not going to get rid of Nick Sirianni. I just love all these national media folks, and even those up in New York. I also just love how Philly is in the mind of these New York sports talk show hosts at WFAN. It cracks me up. I'm going to play something from Tommy Lugauer, who went to college in Philly. And let's see what a lot of Marvel up. This was today. I don't think he did well in geography, by the way. So I'm going to play this right now and let you listen to it. It's just amazing me. It's Philly in the brain all the time. I guess when you don't have championships since 2012, it's just, you got to do something. You know what I mean? Here you go. Listen to this.
I think I speak for all New Yorkers when I say to the Phillies and the Philly fans and the Eagle fans and everybody in the state of Philadelphia.
State of Philadelphia.
Because
City of Philadelphia, dope.
There isn't much to grasp onto this football season. It's been a rough year, obviously. Yeah, Jackson Dart. Yeah, the Giants, hopefully they get this coaching search right. And the Jets, yeah, season was awful. But you have all these picks, picking number 2 in the draft. So it wasn't very good.
And he still sucked.
As we all sat there Sunday afternoon.
And Philly on the brain.
As a banged up, and it got even worse during the game. George Kittle got hurt during the game. As we watched a banged up 49er team walk in to the link and knock off the defending champs. So it's been a rough couple of months for Philadelphia. It's been a rough couple of months for the Philly sports fan. First, you had what was, I think, the worst loss in the history of Philadelphia sports. The way the Phillies were eliminated, really, there's no coming back. Like, if I was a Phillies fan, I would just say, I give up. Let them move to Montreal. They need a team. There's no coming back from that. And then, fast forward a couple months later, the Eagles go quietly into the night. There's dysfunction. Your head coach could be gone. Your top wide receiver could be gone. Your quarterback could be gone. And what or whom will be there to pick up the pieces? So I say this to all the Philly sports fans. Enjoy the next couple of months in Philly, because it's going to be a lot of complaining, a lot of crying, and a lot of bemoaning the worst loss in the history of Philly sports, which is what happened to the Phillies. And then the defending champs not even being able to defend their home field for one game.
You could literally start your own business right now. You could literally start your own business. You could literally start your own business.
I think I speak for all.
So, I have just one word for New York sports since you want to go there. It's hilarious. You guys basically got 9 teams, right? You got 2 in each sport, right? You want to count 3 if you want to count the Devils. I'm going to give this to you, New York sports, because you haven't smelled a title since 2012. And you got guys at WFAN that have to have Philly in the brain all the time. That they're so butt sore they haven't seen a title since 2012. Here's what I have to say to all you New York sports fans. Yeah, you could talk about my city all you want, man. But I love WFAN and I listen to sports talk all the time. It's just absolutely entertaining listening to these hosts that are so butt sore that it's Philly of the mind all the time. All I hear is these athletes want to come to the big city and play in New York. They want to come here because if they're an athlete, they will make a name for themselves. If they don't play here in New York, they won't make a name for themselves. Let me just sit here. The New York Giants right now are on the level of the past 10 years with the New York Jets. Your team has sucked for 10 years. The Jets, we don't have to go into. All we hear is the Yankees. You haven't smelled the title with the Yankees since 2009, and all we heard about was the Astros cheated. The Astros cheated. And with the Mets, they signed Juan Soto. They didn't even make the playoffs. The Knicks, you're not going to win the title. You got to take 3 kids from Philadelphia who played at Villanova to come help you out. You want John Harbaugh to come help the Giants out. He's got Philly ties. He was part of Andy Reid's coaching staff. We talk about the Rangers. They're terrible. They're terrible. The Islanders, forget about it. The Devils, not going to do nothing. So what do you have in New York right now? Since 2012, you haven't sniffed a championship. And these guys at WFAN crack me up. Crack me up. What? They don't talk about this in Philly. We don't talk about it. We don't talk about New York until we play them. We don't get all fired up because the other team lost. We won the Super Bowl last year, the Eagles. What did the Giants do? You guys go crazy because you finally beat us. Go check the record of the Eagles against the Giants since 2006. We've owned you like a stepchild. You won 2 Super Bowls during that time, but be thankful that you didn't play the Eagles in any of those years in the playoffs. I'm going to be like them right now with this stuff because you know what? It cracks me up. I will defend my city. I will defend my sports teams. And no, we won't jump off of our teams because you know what? We've seen our teams lose. We're used to losing. We don't bandwagon jump like they do in New York. Like you see Met fans jumping on the root for the Yankees if they're in a thing. That's what's amazing about New York. You bandwagon jump on each other's teams when they're doing well. You root for your team, but when the other New York team's in, you jump on, oh, they're from New York. So please let us know when New York wins a title again. Until then, you can't match Philly. You can't even match Boston either. You're in between a sandwich. You're like the white stuffing in an Oreo cookie. Okay? Until you win, don't say a word. You haven't seen anything since 2012. And that's all I have to say about New York and Philly. That's just – I listen to FAN a lot. All the hosts just do this Philly hate. The Philly hate. And Craig Carton, I love Craig. He hates Philly. But his wife is from Philly too. And Craig used to be a broadcaster in Philly, okay, at WIP, which is our equivalent to WFAN. So, it's laugh all you want, but we laugh loud because you guys haven't smelled anything since 2012, and you got 9 teams to choose from. That kind of sucks. So that's my little rant about New York and Philly. A little fun with it. Maybe I piss some people off, but that's okay. I love my city. I love my sports teams, and I pay attention to New York because I have to, because I live in that territory, and I try to pay attention nationally because I love sports. I want to be able to talk about it across the board nationally too. Plus, I have fun with it. So another thing I want to talk about life here. See, I love my hoodies, and I wear a specific hoodie here. This right here was got me into broadcasting, and a long time Philadelphia sports talk show host told me I used to go to his shows a lot and used to go to the station a lot to listen to his show. And at one time he said to me, George, you want to get into the business. This is what you do. You go to a local small station. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you're cleaning the bathrooms. Just get in the door. That's what I did back in 1989. Went to this small station in Doylestown, WBUX. I got in the door. I was doing stats and doing color for CB West, and also they were doing CB East games. Did that for a while. Then they sold the station. This was the big thing, which I went out also to be able to get a station in my hometown, which was a public radio station where you had to get advertising, what they called sponsors, right? You got businesses to sponsor a quarter or spot in the first quarter or halftime or post game. So I did broadcasting for one of the top teams in the state of Pennsylvania, which was Central Bucks West High School. They were our rivals back when I was in high school. When I went to broadcast them, I learned why they were so good. When I would go to the games in high school, we always, they're recruiting, man. They're recruiting. That was the thing. But when I was broadcasting, I had a lot of opportunity to have access to the program, practices, talk to the coaches. I found out why they were so good. Their practices were off the charts. They were ready for games. I mean, opponents knew what they were going to run. It was a matter of them stopping it. They were that good. They preached upon execution in practice and playing hard in practice. And the thing is, when kids would come back after leaving the program and go to college and would come back and visit, they always heard the same thing. God, our practices at West were harder than college. I remember when Coach Pettin passed away, I went to the celebration of life. The place was packed. And every person that played for him that got up to speak said the same thing about him. He prepared us for life. He made sure that we were taken care of by going to college. Coach always wanted kids to go to college. It didn't matter what level. If you weren't a Division I athlete, he got you to Division II or Division III. Kids got to the next level for their education. You see what St. Joe's Prep is right now in Philly and LaSalle. All these programs that are successful right now should thank Central Bucks West, because at the time, many would come up to see the program and why they were so good. The weight room was old school weight room. So they called it the dungeon. Think about what you had in high school in the 70s, or like your basement where you would lift. That's it was bigger than that, but it was called a dungeon for a reason. Um, the weight program would begin in January. They win a state title or play a state championship in December. They were back in January in the weight room preparing for the season. Um, I saw all that stuff. I got to I got to witness why they were that good. And I always had access to coach. I used to sit in his office a couple times and we talk about different things about my old high school, about, football across the board. The man was amazing, amazing human being. And as assistant coach, I became very good friends with Mike Carey. Um, Mike would go on after West. He went to North Penn, helped them win a state title. He then went on to Archbishop Wood, helped them win a title. These two guys together were incredible. The teams they put on that field were always ready to play. And look, they held the state record for a long time from 1984 to 89 for most consecutive games without a loss, which was at 56. They broke that in 1997 to 2000 with playoffs, which I think this one was more of a feat. They went 59 games without a loss, losing in the year 2000, looking to win their fourth consecutive state title. They lost to Erie Prep in the 4A state final, 40-34 in overtime. I broadcasted that game. That was the last game I ever broadcasted. I remember that vividly. Mike Carey took over for Coach Pettin, who retired the year before, got them to the finals. The season was there was drama during the season. Stuff happened. I had never seen Coach Carey that exhausted. I went down, watched his press conference, and just realized I think this is it for him. And it was. He retired. Randy Cuthbert took over. Eventually, Central Bucks went to 3 schools. Now West and South. The last couple of years, the programs are coming back. But will any of the programs ever be on that level in Central Bucks? I highly doubt it. You got North Penn; it's still one school, right? Central Bucks is divided into three high schools. It's crazy. A lot of memories. And I'm a nostalgic type of guy, so that's what got me wanting to be a broadcaster. Because when I was younger, everybody used to tell me, "You can't do this. There's too many people doing it. No, you can't do this." Don't ever have anybody in your life tell you can't do anything. I don't care. Even now, when we're almost 60, you can change what you want to do with your life. You can change different things. Don't let somebody tell you no. And I allowed that when I was younger. Me doing my broadcasting got me hungry. So this podcasting thing is like me fulfilling something. You know what I'm saying? I like talking. In my opinion, I have a lot of sports knowledge. And I like having fun. Social media has right now, a lot of bickering and divide amongst us. Look, I'm very political, but I'm trying to minimize that a little bit because there's just too much stress out there. I love sports, music, and life. And I think that's what I want to talk about here. And that's what I enjoy doing. So you can always participate in my podcast. My link to StreamYard is on the bottom at all times. It's real easy. You click it on you put the address on your phone, hit it, follow the instructions, and you will appear on the bottom of my studio. I look at that to see once in a while if someone's wants to come on. Anybody can come on. I've now connected it to YouTube. I think it's now connected. It's on Facebook right now. Now, a week from Wednesday, January 21st, I want to do guests on my show. I'm not going to call them interviews. I'm going to call them discussions and want to have some fun with it. My first one, I thought about it for a while, and many people in this part of New Jersey know this person very well. Really cool guy, very talented individual. I have this admiration for musicians. It's amazing. When I go watch anybody play any type of instrument, singing, keyboards, trumpet, horns, drums, I'm in amazement the talent that these individuals have. We're in an area here in New Jersey where music is very huge. And look, I'm a big fan of music, and I've talked about music in Philly and South Jersey, which is just as strong. We're in a really good area from New York to Philly when it comes to music, and especially in New Jersey. Um, I will always push for Philadelphia music because I have a lot of the musicians I've seen in Philly, and I've always felt that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame should have been in Philadelphia. Why it wasn't? No idea. We've had a lot of great musicians and bands from Philly, even the burbs of Philly, if you really want to go, and even New Jersey. Look, I'm not a Bruce Springsteen fan. I know a lot of you are. Hey, different strokes for different folks, right? But there's a lot of talented individuals in this part of New Jersey. So next Wednesday, a week from Wednesday, my very first guest on my podcast. That's why it's so important for me, and I'm trying to get this technical stuff together because I can talk and I have so much information in me that I could talk to anybody. I just want to be able to get it across to my social media outlets so people can see it either live, they can contribute by coming on, or seeing it in my, for example, YouTube channel. Next Wednesday, 9 o'clock, January 21st, 9 o'clock Wednesday. My very first guest on my podcast will be none other than Eddie Testa. Now, first, I want to tell Eddie, thank you. I know you're very busy. Not only does he play almost every weekend, he's got, in the summertime, 2 businesses. He's got a full-time business all year long. If you like chicken, he has a place in Tom's River called Chicken Town. I've been there. The food is good, real good. The chicken is sensational. I love his chicken. If you've never seen his band play, it gets the crowd involved. I'll just say that to you. He is entertaining. He gets people involved in his shows. I know all the guys in the band. It's funny. About a month ago, I went to see them and didn't realize 2 of his band members, I won't say their names. We just talked. I didn't realize that they would have been sober like me. I never knew that. And I've talked to them so many times. I just couldn't believe it, And you guys all know what sobriety is for me. That's my ticket, man. That saved my life. But he'll be my guest. Here's some stories. I'm going to ask some typical stuff. Something like, I'm sure we'll laugh about this one. I'm sure he'll tell me. I remember seeing bands when I was in high school. I remember when they would play in the garage, and we sit outside in the driveway drinking beers and listen to bands. I'm sure he's got similar stuff. I hope to ask him a few questions, and hopefully some of you guys might want to get on board and ask some questions too. So next Wednesday at 9 o'clock, the great Eddie Testa. Thank you guys for watching, listening, or if you're seeing in the future, please subscribe to my YouTube page. And again, always remember the link to come on with me when I do my podcast scrolls across the actual my page here. So I have a couple things I want to show you guys, and let you guys see these before I go. And they call them banners, and I put a couple of these up. I'm going to put a few of them across on my thing right now before I let you go. I'm going to make, let's see here. I'm going to do this one. Some of my friends will laugh at this one. Is it a hoagie, sub, or hero? It's a hoagie. I just pissed a few people off. It's a Philly thing. We call it a hoagie. All right, let's grab another one here. Let's grab these. I put these up. I'm going to show them before I go. Name the best Jersey Shore town. I got 2. And this is going to show my Philly. Brigantine's 1. And I really am a huge fan of Avalon. Let's try this here. Favorite pizza topping? I'm going pepperoni. Pepperoni, pepperoni, pepperoni. All right, what else we got here? I have a few more, and then I'll let you guys go. All right. I'm gonna get you guys fired up. Best sports fans, Boston, Philly, or New York? Well, I was just ripping Tommy. Tommy's a good guy. I like the guys at WFAN. I really do. I make it no secret when they do the live events at DJs. I wear my Philly stuff. I just do. I bust his stones. I look. It's all fun. I get it. All right, let's do a couple more, and I'll say night to you guys. All right, I'm gonna do 4 more because I did these before I All right, 5 more. Let's do a music one. Give 3 of your favorite musicians or groups. I'll give you 3 real quick. Mine's Led Zeppelin. That's 1. 2 is The Who, and I'm a huge Prince fan. Love Prince. Think about it. Prince back in the day, it was Prince and Michael. I like Michael Jackson too, but I'm a huge Prince fan. Got to be real. When Prince passed away, I cried. I did. And I had that hair that Prince had in the 80s. Back in the 80s, if anybody grew up in the 80s, the guys got the perms back in the mid 80s. I had one right after high school, and I put gel in it. I almost look like Rick James. There's another one. All you clubbers, Rick James. All right, let's do this one. Who will the next head coach of the New York Giants be? It's a great question. You're all hearing Harbaugh, Stefanski. I'm going to go. I think it's going to be Harbaugh, and that pains me. It pains me. Hope I'm wrong. All right. Here's a couple more. Who will the New York Jets draft with the number 2 overall pick in the first round? Well, it better be a quarterback. They've got a choice after the kid from Indiana goes number 1 in the Raiders. You need to build around a quarterback. You got to build a team around them, and they got to make this one right. If they're picking a quarterback like they should have an idea that night who it is, and they should have everything about them. That's where your franchise is. That's where you build. And look at the Giants. Jackson Dart. He he is a good quarterback, and I gotta tell you, they're going to be strong next year. The Giants. They'll bring back some people that from injuries, and I think they're going to get that kid with their pick from Ohio State, the actual wide receiver. I had his name here. I wanted to say that. I totally forgot about that. Cornell Tate. Watch. That's who the Giants get. And they're going to – I'm not saying if they get Harbaugh that they're going to get 6 wins with Harbaugh. That ain't going to happen. They're going to turn around a little bit. And that rivalry in the NFC East with the Giants and the Eagles is going to intensify some more. All right, here's a couple more, and then I'll say goodnight to you guys. Because I'm watching the football game and also Monday Night Raw. Mondays are my night of all that stuff, too. This is for Philly. And even the New York guys could say this. Who will the Philadelphia Eagles offensive coordinator be in 2026? Great question. I hope it's somebody over 45 or 50 that'll stick around more than 1 year. And that's huge because think about it. Successful teams, bad teams that fire coaches come to those successful teams to take the coordinators. And Jalen's had a different offensive coordinator since college every year. He hasn't had the same coordinator back-to-back years. So if they're going to get somebody, I hope it's somebody like a Frank Reich who won't leave for another head coaching job. He's over 50. They need to go in that direction a little bit. Someone that's a name like their defensive coordinator who isn't going to leave to be a head coach the following year or two. All right, here's the last one. What 2 teams will be in the Super Bowl? Okay, I'm going to say Seattle and Denver. I think one of my friends will really like that. He's a huge Denver Bronco fan. I'm sure he's ecstatic right now with the Eagles gone. He can now wear his Denver Broncos garb. So those are some of my questions I put out there for a little bit of fun. I'll do that during my podcast. I totally almost forgot about that because I put them on my banner label to put on. So, like I said, next Wednesday, 9 o'clock, Eddie Tessa will join me. Guys, thanks for joining me. Have a great night and have a great week. Talk to you. Bye-bye.